ఒక రిసోర్స్ఫుల్ గా మనం తయారు చేసుకుంటే అది జాతీయ స్థాయి అంతర్జాతీయ స్థాయిలో కూడా నేను పంపడానికి.
Good morning, children. Welcome to the second session in the lecture series for Chapter 6, Biology and Human Welfare, taught by Ms. UZMA AMATULLAH, PGT Zoology at TSMS Nawabpet. And you may recall that in the first session last week, we discussed about what parasites are and the organisms they infect and their adaptations in the host environment. Today, we will go deeper and learn about a common parasitic disease called amoebic dysentery or amoebiasis. Amoebiasis is an intestinal disease caused by a microscopic protozoan parasite called Entamoeba histolytica, which spreads through human feces. This can be a very painful disease causing bloody stool and sometimes liver damage. But the good news is that it is preventable and by following simple precautions. In severe cases, amoebic dysentery can be deadly as well. The great kings Sri Krishna Devaraya and Akbar both were reported to have died because of this disease. Fortunately, today we have access to modern medicine and knowledge of the disease-causing organism. And this protozoan can spread easily when we unknowingly consume contaminated food or water. This can happen, for instance, if we clean our fruits with contaminated water. So the spread of this disease can be controlled if we follow simple hygiene and health practices. It's very important for all of us to understand the life cycle of this protozoan and learn about the treatments available and control. Uzma madam will discuss in detail all of these concepts. After watching this lecture, I hope you will realize the importance of properly washing and appreciate eating hygienically prepared home food. With this, I request Uzma madam to begin the lecture. Madam, please.
Thank you, madam. A very good morning to all my dear viewers, and thank you, Vishnupriya madam, for your continuous support and cooperation in preparing these slides. Welcome my dear students of Telangana Model Junior College. Hope you all are studying well for your from these sessions and also preparing for your exams. Now, listen, children, we are conducting these programs online to cater your need for education in these adverse situations of pandemic. But it is your responsibility now to you have to show your attentiveness in attending these lectures and these classes, and you make down the notes, you write your notes in the notebooks, and then start preparing for your exam seriously. Now, in the last class, we have discussed about the Unit 6. We have started Unit 6, that is the Biology and Human Welfare. Now, here you see in this unit, we have discussed about the various organisms, disease-causing organisms. They are called as pathogens. And we have discussed these disease-causing organisms and their effects on the host. Now, why is the need for us to learn about these disease-causing microorganisms? Why? Because these, if we come to know about their, the structure, their life cycle, and the, how these disease-causing microorganisms spread, then we can control them by preparing medicines and vaccines, so that we can avoid the adverse effects of these organisms. Now, here they cause abnormalities in our body. So it is our prime responsibility to take care of our health, which is more important to us. So here, from this session, the present class, we will be discussing about the one of the microorganism which is causing amoebic dysentery. Now here, first of all, let us move to the class. Last class, what we have studied, we'll have a quick recap of it. Recap means recapitulation, means what we have studied in the earlier class, we'll have a brush up on it. Now here, we have studied about parasite. What are parasites? Now, parasites are the microorganisms which are, taking shelter, and they are taking nutrition from the other organism. Which is that other organism here? It is the host. Now, here the relationship between the parasite and the host is called as the relationship between parasite and host is called as the parasitism. Now, here you see this is a parasite, the host. Now, the parasites are the organisms which are taking shelter in others' organisms' body for food and for food and shelter. Now, here we have discussed about different types of parasites. That is ectoparasite, endoparasite, hyperparasite, monogenetic parasite, and digenetic parasite. Now, what are ectoparasites? Ectoparasites are the organisms which lives on the body of the other organism, on the host body, on the surface of the host body. Now, what is endoparasite? Endoparasite is the organisms which lives inside the body of the host. So here they live inside the cells or in the tissue or in the the body cavity. So they are considered as endoparasite. Endo means inside. Now endoparasites are three types: cytozoic, histozoic, coelozoic. So the parasites which lives inside the cell of the host, that is cytozoic. Cyte means cell. So cytozoic parasite lives inside the body of the inside the cells of the host. Then comes the histozoic. Histo means tissue. So the organisms, the parasites which are living in the body in the tissues of the host, they are called as the histozoic. Then comes the coelozoic. Coelo means the body cavity. So the parasites inside the body cavities of the host, they are considered as coelozoic parasites. Now next comes the hyperparasite. So the parasite of the parasite is called as hyperparasite. Now then comes the monogenetic parasite. So the parasite which completes its life cycle in a single host.
Uzma madam,
is called as a
Uzma madam, sorry to disturb you. Please share the screen, madam. Please share the screen.
Madam. Okay, madam. Harun. Screen sharing. Screen sharing. Okay, madam. Hello, madam.
Yeah, madam, you are visible now. Screen.
Okay, madam.
Okay.
Now here, parasites are, different types of parasites are there: ectoparasite, endoparasite, and the ectoparasite, endoparasite, hyperparasite, monogenetic parasite, and digenetic parasite. So here, ectoparasite, they live on the body of the host. Endoparasites, they live inside the body of the host. That is cytozoic, they live in the cells of the host. Histozoic, they live in the tissues of the host. And coelozoic, they live in the body cavity of the host. Then comes the hyperparasite. Hyperparasites are the parasite which lives on the body of the other parasite. So they are the parasite of the parasite. Then comes the monogenetic parasite. These monogenetic parasites, they complete their life cycle in a single host. Then comes the digenetic parasite. These parasites, they complete their life cycle in two hosts. That is a primary host and a secondary host. So there are different types of parasites. We have completed this in our last class. Next comes the host. So here hosts are again three types. So they are primary host or definitive host, then secondary host or intermediate host, and the third one is the reservoir host. Now here primary host is the host which harbors the sexual life cycle and also the adult stages of the parasite. Second is the secondary host. Now this host harbors the asexual life cycle of the parasite, and developmental stages of the parasite. The third one is the reservoir host. Now this host, it will give shelter, it harbors the parasites, but it does not get affected by the ill effects of the parasite. So here, these are the three types of host. Now, vectors. We have studied this also in the last class. What are vectors? There are these organisms. They help in carrying the disease-causing microorganisms from an infected person to the other person, or from infected place, to the contamination. They will carry these microorganisms to the other organisms, and they help in spreading the disease. There are two types of vectors: biological vector and mechanical vector. Now the biological vectors, these are, the parasite enters into the body of this vector and they complete their part of life cycle in the vector's body. So they are considered as biological vectors. Now mechanical vectors are the organisms. They will just help in carrying the parasites, these disease-causing microorganisms, from one place to another place, but no life cycle, or the parasite does not enter into the body of these organisms. So here there are two types of vectors: the biological vector and mechanical vector. Now next, we have studied about different parasitic adaptations. The parasites, they adapt, they make changes in their body so that they can survive in the body of the host. So we have discussed these adaptations also. Now the the effects of parasite on the host body. So the parasite does not do good to the host. They always harm the host. So what all are the ill effects of that parasite on the host? We have discussed in the last class. So next, now today's class, what we are going to discuss in today's class. Now the discussion for today's class is, what is health? Now health, and then what is a disease, different types of diseases, that is infectious diseases and non-infectious diseases. Then we will study about a unicellular microorganism, protozoan, that is Entamoeba histolytica. Thus, in the Entamoeba histolytica, it's a structure. It is, you can see these parasites in three structures, that is trophozoite stage, precystic stage, and cystic stage. So these stages of this parasite we'll discuss, and then the life cycle of this parasite, and the prophylaxis. Prophylaxis means the preventive measures, how we can prevent ourselves from this parasite and its disease. Now here, what is health? Now, health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely any absence of disease or absence of physical fitness. Now here, what does it mean? Now here, a person should be physically fit, mentally fit, and social also. Socially well-being means he should keep good relations with others. And if suppose a person with a mental person, that is with but he is having good health, the physically he's fit, so we cannot consider that person a healthy person. So what is the condition here? A health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being. All three these criteria should be there. So then only that person is considered to be a fit person, physically, that is a healthy person. Now here, the health is, affected by three factors. What are these three factors? Now the factors affecting health, that is genetic disorders. Now disorders means defects. If there is a defect in the genes of the parents, any disorder, then it will be inherited to the offspring. We have discussed this in the 10th class. We have this hereditary there, how the the genes from the parents are inherited to the children. So if there are any defects in the genes, then it will be inherited to the child. And that if any disease is also there, disease no, but you can say disorders, if there is any disorders are there, then it will be inherited to the child. So the health of that person will be affected. Next is infection. Now here, the infection, it can be by a animal parasite, by a bacteria, fungi, virus, all these, these disease-causing microorganisms, they enter from, mode of infections, or that is through air or through, the contaminated food and water, and they cause disease. They spread from one place to another place. Now, next is the lifestyle. Now, what type of food you take in? What is the, the healthy diet, the diet plan, you follow, and the water, amount of water you take in, the rest and exercise. All these factors affects your health, and this considered as the lifestyle. Now here, food, you should always have a balanced food, and you should take all the nutrients in appropriate, proportion. Then only you will be keeping your body healthy. Then amount of water, for the first of water should be free from, the contamination, and then the amount of water you should take is at least 6 glasses of water per day. Rest is also very important for your healthy life. You should sleep at least 6 to 8 hours per day, so that your brain also gets rest, and your health is fine. And exercise, you should at least do 45 to 1 hour vigorous exercise every day to keep your body fit. And then comes the, here, drugs, smoking and alcohol also affects your health. How? Now here you see the drugs. That is the, nowadays the children, they are falling into the bad habit of these drugs, smoking and alcohol. These things, these habits, they will affect your health. They will affect your organs inside the body, and they will be adverse effects of this, the drugs, smoking and alcohol. So we should avoid them, and to lead a healthy life. Now, what is a disease? Now here, what is health? That is the, mentally, physically and social well-being. That is, all these three are in good condition. But if any, there is an imbalance in that. So any change from the normal state of health, if there is an imbalance means if there is no balance in that, and which causes discomfort. Comfort means ease. And if you're not feeling well, if you're not feeling ease, then it is considered as discomfort. Or disability means you're not able to perform any work properly. Then it is called as a disease. So what is the definition of disease? Any change from the normal state of health that causes a discomfort or disability is called as disease. Now here you can see various diseases. Here you can see this person is suffering with the cold, cough, all these, these are ringworms because of this is the viral disease. So all these are the, effects of the diseases. Now, there are two types of diseases. That is infectious diseases and the non-infectious diseases. So this is a very short, important question for your exam, which carries 2 marks, a difference between infectious and non-infectious diseases. So diseases which are easily transmitted from one person to another person, caused by a pathogens, are called as infectious diseases. Like amoebic dysentery, we are going to learn this disease in our today's session. It is through the contaminated food and water this disease is spreading. So typhoid is also the same way. It is also waterborne disease. And the common cold in the, through air, inhalation of the contaminated air. And then the ringworms, it is a viral disease. So all these infections, they spread from one person to another person, either through vectors or through other modes of infections. So these diseases which spread from one person to another, and ringworms. Here this is, you can see this person is suffering with ringworm. Now here, this is a viral disease. Now here you see this when we are sharing the clothes and sharing the beds, all these diseases spread by sharing the the utensils, glasses, plates. So when a disease is spread from one person to another, then it is called as the infectious disease. Next comes the non-infectious disease. Now diseases which are not transmitted from one person to another, and they do not cause by any pathogen, then they are called as non-infectious disease. Means pathogens, disease causing microorganisms are not involved here. These diseases will not be transmitted from one person to another. Suppose a person is having any genetic disorder, kidney problem, heart problem, or cancer, or the arthritis. So this will not be you, the other person who is living beside him or living along with him will not get the disease from that person. So these diseases are called as non-infectious diseases. So these diseases are not transmitted from one person to another. The next is, today in this class we will be discussing about, we'll be having this unicellular microorganism, which is Entamoeba histolytica. It is a protozoan parasite. Now here, this the systemic position of this microorganism is, it belongs to the phylum Protozoa. Protozoans are unicellular microorganisms, and its subphylum is Sarcomastigophora. Class is Rhizopodia. So here, this is the systemic position. And then mode of infection, how this parasite, is transmitted from one place to another place, that is through contaminated food and water. Contaminated means the which is infected with. Now, any food and water which is infected with these parasites, if you take in, then the disease, that parasite will enter into the body of the person. Now here, it causes amoebic dysentery or amoebiasis in man. Now here, who is the host for this particular microorganism? It is a man. Now here, the Greek word, now entos. Entos means within. Amoeb means change. Histos means tissue. Lysis means dissolve. So this microorganism lives inside the body of the host, and it changes its shape like amoeba, and it dissolves it lives inside the tissue of the host, and it dissolves the tissue. So the name comes from these. Now here, microscopic. Microscopic means it is very small, very tiny. You cannot see it with your naked eye. You have to use the microscope to see these microorganisms. So they are, micro means very small. So these are very small organisms, microscopic. Next is monogenetic. Mono means single. Now, already in the last class, we have studied what is monogenetic parasite. Monogenetic parasites are the parasites which complete their life cycle in single host. Means the human man is the host for this particular microorganism. Now next is cosmopolitan. Cosmopolitan means you will see this parasite everywhere in the world. It is not constricted, or it is not present only in a particular region of the world. It is present, you will see in the tropical and subtropical places everywhere throughout the world. Wherever hygiene is not followed, the places underdeveloped or developing countries where hygiene, the rules are not followed, where proper sanitation is not there, these parasites are, we can see this dysentery. Now here, Entamoeba histolytica passes through 3 stages. There are 3 stages, 3 structures you can see here. We have to, learn these stages to learn about their life cycle. Now first is trophozoite stage. Then precystic stage. then comes the cystic stage. So these stages in detail we will study. Now these organism, where does this organism live? It lives inside the large intestine of man. So here, this is the large intestine. Where in the large intestine? In the mucosa and submucosa. First of all, you need to learn what is mucous membrane. What is mucous membrane? What is this? This boy is pulling his lip down. Now here, what do you see? A pink color membrane. Now this is the mucous membrane. Now the membrane which is covering the inner lining. Now this membrane will be continuous throughout the alimentary canal, in the esophagus, in the stomach, in the small intestine, in the large intestine, up to anus. So this is the mucous membrane. Now below this mucous membrane, there is a mucosa and submucosa. Here you can see this mucosa. This outer pink color lining, from inside, this is the mucosa. And the inner one, this is called as the submucosa. So these microorganisms are present in the mucosa membrane and in the submucosa membrane of the large mucosa and submucosa of the large intestine. Now what do you see here? This is the transverse section of this large intestine. So where these microorganisms are present, it is living inside the tissue of this mucosa and submucosa. Now comes the trophozoite stage first. Now here, the trophozoite stage, here you see it is having it is oval shape, somewhat oval shape. It is having a pseudopodia. It is having a pseudopodia. Pseudopodia is the here you see there is a finger-like projection here, which is called as pseudopodia. Now these are blunt, they are not sharp. These pseudopodia, only single pseudopodia is present here in this stage, and this is called as lobopodia. The single pseudopodia is called as lobopodia. It is blunt, finger-like projection. Now here, the cytoplasm of this trophozoite stage, it is divided into ectoplasm and endoplasm. Ectoplasm is outer one. This green one you can see, this is ectoplasm, and the inner one is called as the endoplasm. Now here you see this ectoplasm, it is clear. It does not have any granules. Any round structures are not present here. But here you can find. So it is clear, it is viscous. Viscous means it is a semi-solid, or you can say it is a jelly-like substance, and clear, non-granular, viscous ectoplasm. Now inside here, this is called as the endoplasm. Endo means inside. So here this endoplasm has granules. It is granular. It is fluid-like, and it is you can see here, this is the endoplasm, which is granular and fluid-like. Now here, in the endoplasm, what all are present? You can see the ribosomes. You can see the food vacuoles with bacterium, and they are the food vacuoles with RBCs, and a cartwheel-shaped nucleus. Now here, this is the structure. You have to practice drawing this. This diagram is very important for your exam. You have to draw this and you have to label it. If it comes for 4 marks, you have to draw this and you have to describe the structure, for which you'll be getting 4 marks. You have to label it also. And if it is coming for the 8 marks, then it will be in the life cycle. Along with the life cycle, you have to draw this diagram and write about this. Now, what is trophozoite stage? Now here, it is active stage. Means the organism is very active in this stage. It is motile. Motile means it can move from one place to another place. Now here, it is feeding, means in this stage, the microorganism, this parasite is feeding on the tissues of the host. And it is pathogenic stage. Pathogenic means a disease-causing stage. it causes a disease. Now, it lives in the mucosa and submucosa. What is mucosa and submucosa? We have discussed, we have seen that what is mucosa and submucosa? Membrane of the large intestine. Where does it live? In the mucosa and submucosa of membrane of the large intestine. Now, it moves with the help of a single blunt finger like pseudopodia. What is that pseudopodia called as? Lobopodia. Now, here lobopodium is produced in the advancing end, means wherever this microorganism is moving towards that end, you will find this pseudopodium. Now here, the body of this trophozoite is surrounded by a membrane. What is that membrane called as the plasma lemma? This membrane, you can see the outer membrane is called as the plasma lemma. Now here, the cytoplasm is distinguished, means it is a, you can see difference in this. How? That is the outer clear, viscous, non-granular ectoplasm. Ecto means outer, and inner fluid-like granular endoplasm. Now here at this side, you can see granules. Round structures are called as granules, which you will see in this structure. You can see these granules inside the endoplasm. Now, here ribosomes, food vacuoles, vesicles, cartwheel-shaped nucleus are present in the endoplasm. So here, ribosome, food vacuoles, vesicles, and cartwheel-shaped nucleus are present. And what is not present here, you see? Contractile vacuole, endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi apparatus, and mitochondria are absent. These four, organelles are absent. Then, why the mitochondria is absent? Now here, what is the role of mitochondria? It helps in aerobic respiration. So here, the absence of mitochondria indicates that this microorganism is an obligate anaerobic in nature. Means it does not require oxygen for respiration. So here, why this is an important question for you? Why the absence of mitochondria? What does it indicate? That is that this parasite is obligate anaerobic. Now here, it produces an enzyme called histolysin. Histo means tissue. Lysin means breaking. So here it will break the tissues. Which tissues? In the large intestine, membrane, mucosa and submucosa tissues, they will break. Now the name of this parasite is assigned on this only because of this enzyme. The name, that is histolytica. So here it is, the name is also assigned on this enzyme, which dissolves the mucosa and submucosa of the gut wall. Now here, the blood which is released from the tissue, it is, the dissolved mucosa and submucosa, that blood which comes out, it is ingested. Ingested means it is taken up. It is, eaten up by the trophozoite. And because it is a feeding stage, so it will eat the blood. And the food vacuoles are seen with the debris of erythrocytes. So debris means the, fragments or the pieces of the erythrocytes. Erythrocytes are RBCs. Fragments of epithelial cells and bacteria are also present in the food vacuoles. Now, mode of nutrition is holozoic. Holozoic means ingesting the food and then digesting in the body is called as holozoic. So they will eat that RBCs, the fragments of epithelial cells and bacteria, and they will digest inside it. Now here, the presence of RBC in the food vacuole and cartwheel-shaped nucleus are the characteristic feature of trophozoite stage. If suppose in a, the diagnosis, if we find these two things in the, RBCs in the food vacuoles and the cartwheel-shaped nucleus, then you can confirm that it is a trophozoite stage of Entamoeba histolytica. Now it is very important, very short answer, which carries 2 marks in your IP. Next is the pre-cystic stage. Now the pre means before, cyst means the formation of the resistant membrane. So here the pre-cystic stage, it is, You can see in this picture, it is somewhat oval, spherical or oval in shape. And this is the which you find in the, this is the original, in the microscope, how we see this stage here, precystic stage, this one. Now here it is a non-feeding. Trophozoite is a feeding stage. Now this precystic stage is a non-feeding stage, and it is a non-pathogenic stage. Now non-pathogenic means it does not cause any disease in this stage. Now this stage is found in the lumen of the large intestine. Now what is lumen? Now here, what is lumen? You see here down. What is this? This is a intestine or a blood vessel, whichever. They are, what is the shape of here? It is a tube shape. Now, when it is a tube shape, what do you? This hollow space will be there in the middle. You can see this hollow space. This space is called as the lumen. So wherever tubular structures are there in the body, in which this hollow space is enclosed, then it is called as the lumen. So here, where this stage is present in the lumen of the large intestine, not in the mucosa and submucosa membrane, but it is present in the lumen of the large intestine. It is small in size, spherical or oval, and non-motile in form. Means it does not move from one place to another place. It just enters into the lumen of the large intestine. From the then this you can see here the glycogen granules are present, and the chromatid bars are present here, green color one. Now here you see these glycogen granules and chromatid bars. They are made up of ribonucleoproteins, and they are like reserve food, and they are found in the cytoplasm of this precystic stage, and they acts as a reserve food. Now when you are going on a journey, long journey, you will carry a tiffin along with you. This is how, like this microorganisms, it is going to come out of the host, and now then it has to survive without, the host. So that is why it is having this reserve food. Now, next is the cystic stage. Now it is a round shape. You can see this. This is the diagram which is there in your textbook. And here you see this is from the microscope how it looks. Now it is a round in shape and is surrounded by a delicate and highly resistant cyst wall. Now here, cyst means it is a resistant covering. On the last class I have explained you the cyst formation. Where to tide over the unfavorable conditions, the microorganisms, they develop cyst around their body. Cyst is like a raincoat. In the rainy season, we wear raincoat during rain so that we can protect our body from the rain. And we wear water resistant watches so that water do not enter into the watches. Likewise, here also these are the resistant covering. This is the resistant, the walls which will protect this, the parasite inside. Now here, it is found in the lumen of large intestine. Where do you find this cystic stage? In the lumen of large intestine. Now here, the process of formation of, development of the cyst wall is called as encystation. Encystation means the process of development of the wall is, the cyst wall is called as encystation. It helps to tide over the unfavorable conditions outside the host. Now, the host body, the conditions are not favorable for their development or for their growth. So they will develop this cyst so that they can come across that, to tide over that unfavorable, harsh situations outside. Now here, the parasite is going to encounter when before going to the new host. Now, soon after encystation, the nucleus undergoes mitotic division. Now, inside the lumen of the large intestine, the nucleus undergoes mitotic divisions. And then once the mitotic division, how many, it undergoes two, the mitotic division, undergoes two mitotic division, and then this nucleus. How many nuclei are there now? 4. So it is called as the tetranucleate cyst. This stage is called as mature cyst or tetranucleate cyst. It is an infective stage to man. Now this is the stage when suppose this tetranucleate cyst, even if it is ingested through contaminated food and water, then the person will suffer with this disease. Now here you see this life cycle of Entamoeba histolytica. Now this is the life cycle which is there in this diagram is there in your textbook. You have to practice drawing this diagram, practice it 2 to 3 times or maybe more than that, so that all these stages you can draw well. Along with this, you have to write about the life cycle also. So now what is the life cycle? Let's see. Now here you see, this is the large intestine. Here, this is the large intestine of man. Now through mouth, that parasite, that tetranucleate cyst enters into the body. From here, it will enter from the stomach into the small intestine. From the small intestine, it will enter into the large intestine. In the large intestine, these trophozoite stage, they will, invade. Invade means they enter into the mucosa and submucosa of the large intestine. Mucosa membrane and submucosa membrane of the large intestine. So here, this is the trophozoite stage. Where it is present? In the mucosa and submucosa of large intestine. Now these trophozoite stage, they undergo repeated binary fission. Means after, repeated binary fission, many trophozoites are formed. Now these, they will enter into the lumen of the large intestine. Now they comes out from the mucosa and submucosa membrane, and they will enter into the lumen. Lumen is the space enclosed in the the large intestine, the hollow space, the cavity which is there. And then they gets transformed into pre-cystic stage. Then from the pre-cystic stage, they will develop a cyst wall over them, and they become the, the cystic stage. Then from there, they will undergo 2 successive mitotic divisions. Here you see this nucleus, one time it will divide by mitotic division, then the other time. Then how many nuclei are there here? 4 nuclei. Now this stage is called as tetranucleate cyst. Now this cyst, along with the fecal matter, that is excreta, along with the stool of the host, it comes out into the soil. Now here in the soil, if it is soil, if it is any food, that is vegetables, fruits or water, if it is contaminated with this tetranucleate cyst, which is, it is infected with this cyst, and if it is taken, if it is ingested by another person, a man. Now here you see through mouth, it enters into the body, and then this tetranucleate cyst will go into the stomach. From the stomach, it will enter into the small intestine. In the small intestine, there is an enzyme, trypsin, which will digest this cyst. Means it will rupture this cyst. Rupture means it will break the cyst. And then this process is called as excistation. Excistation means this, the metacyst, it is coming out of the cyst wall. It is coming out. Now this, the existed, this tetranucleate cyst is called as the metacyst now. What is it called as? Metacyst. Now this metacyst undergoes, each of these nuclei, it will, divide mitotic, it will divide by mitotic division. Now each of these nuclei will divide to form 2, 2. So how many are there now? 4 will divide to form 8. So these 8 antemubulae, they will enter into the, again they will invade the wall of the mucosa and submucosa, and then they will grow in size, they will undergo development, and they will transform into trophozoite stage. Now this is the life cycle, which will be from a man to the other man. From this tetranucleate cyst will infect the other person, but the host is man, only single host. That is why it is called as the monogenetic parasite. Now this life cycle, you can see in this diagram. For explanation purpose, I have drawn that. Now you see this in your textbook. Now first one, trophozoite stage, it undergoes binary fission, and then this it will enter into the, it will come into the lumen of the large intestine, and then it will transform into pre-cystic stage, and then into the cystic stage, and then the tetranucleate cyst. Now this tetranucleate cyst comes out along with the fecal matter into the soil, and from there again it will reach to the other host, that is other human being, And from there again it will enter into the body. Again into the small intestine, that is cyst gets ruptured. And then what happens? These metacysts are released. Now these metacysts, the nuclei of this, it will undergo mitotic division, and then 8 daughter entamoebae are released, and which will again they will become bigger, they will grow in size and they become trophozoite. Now this is the life cycle. Now instead of going into the lumen of the large intestine, sometimes what happens, these they will rupture the wall of the intestine and they will go into the extra intestinal journey. That is, they will enter into the lungs, liver, brain. So they will they will make abscesses there, they will form abscess, and this is called as secondary amoebiasis or extra intestinal journey. Now, life cycle of Entamoeba histolytica, which I have explained you in this diagram. Again, this one you have to take screenshot, prepare well for your exam, this life cycle along with the diagram. It carries 8 marks. Very important for your IP exam. Now, life cycle of Entamoeba histolytica. The trophozoite stage undergoes binary fission in the wall of large intestine and produce number of daughter entamoebae. These entamoebae feeds on bacteria and host tissue, increase in size and multiply by repeated binary fission. Now, after increasing in number, some of the young ones enter the lumen of the large intestine and transform into precystic stage. Now, the precystic stage transform into cystic stage, which in turn develop into tetranucleate cyst. The entire process from trophozoite to tetranucleate cyst completes in a few hours. Within few hours, that all that come from the trophozoite, it will become tetranucleate cyst. The tetranucleate cyst comes out along with the fecal matter. Fecal matter means excreta, that is the stool or the excreta, which is the excretory substance of the body, and can remain alive for about 10 days in the soil outside the body of the host. These cysts reach new host through contaminated food and water. These cysts reach the new host's small intestine. It will travel along with the mouth through the esophagus into the stomach, then into the small intestine. And there the cyst wall gets ruptured due to the action of enzyme trypsin. Now the trypsin will digest it. It will dissolve the cyst wall. The process of parasite escaping the cyst is called as excistation. Very important, very short answer for your exam. What is excistation? The process of the parasite escaping the cyst is called as excistation. Now releasing the tetranucleate amoebae. Now these tetranucleate excystic amoebae are called as metacyst. The 4 nuclei of the metacyst undergo mitotic divisions and produce 8 nuclei. Each nucleus gets a bit of cytoplasm, and thus 8 daughter entamoebae or metacystic trophozoites are produced. These young ones develop into feeding stage called as trophozoite again. Now these invade into the mucus. Invade means enter, entering into the mucous membrane of the large intestine and grow in mature trophozoites. So this is the life cycle. These 2 slides, that is. Now this life cycle, the diagram of this life cycle, you need not draw this. It is only for your explanation. This one, this slide, and this one. All you have to write for your life cycle. Now, what pathogenicity? Pathogenicity means what this parasite causes, which disease. So what are the ill effects of this disease? So first is primary amoebiasis. What is it? Now here, abscesses. Abscesses means, now here you see in this picture, this microorganism, this entamoeba, that is a trophozoite stage, it invades. Invades means it enters into the wall. It will, with the help of that histolysine enzyme, it will rupture, it will dissolve the wall of the large intestine, mucosa and submucosa, and they will make holes here. You can see this one inside picture. These are called as, when these holes are made, Here you see the RBCs and the, the pus formation. You can see the, the debris of the epithelial tissue and bacteria also all together. It forms pus. And these are called as abscesses. What are these called as? Abscesses. Now here they also cause ulcers also. Now here, so the formation of abscesses in the wall of large intestine. The trophozoite dissolve the mucosal lining by the histolysine, go deep into the submucosa and cause ulcers. So they make holes in the walls of the large intestine, causing abscesses. Now next is amoebic dysentery or intestinal amoebiasis. That is the stool with the blood and mucus. The stool means excreta, fecal matter. Now here it will come with blood and mucus. What is mucus? Now here, the sticky substance, the sticky fluid which comes out from the mucous membrane is called as mucus. So here the blood along with the mucus and irregular bowel movements means there will be no regularity. The person will rush into the washroom frequently because of this irregular bowel movements and severe abdominal pain. So these are the symptoms that the person is suffering with this amoebic dysentery: blood and mucus in the stool, irregular bowel movement, and severe abdominal pain. Now, this is a very short, important question. Next is, who are carrier asymptomatic cyst passers? So the persons, some of the people, they will be carrying this in their body. These parasites are there in the body, but they do not exhibit any symptoms. They will not show any symptoms. So they help in spreading the disease. They will not get affected. It means they are not showing any symptoms. The disease is there in them. The parasites are there, but they will not show the symptoms. And so what happens? They will help in spreading the disease. People will think that they are healthy, but they will help in spreading the disease. Now next is, this is also an important short answer, very short answer for you. So prepare these two. Then extra-intestinal amoebiasis or secondary amoebiasis. So we have seen when if it is traveling through the intestines through the alimentary canal, then it is called as intestinal amoebiasis. But if it is it is rupturing the wall of the intestine and reaching the lungs, heart, brain, kidney, and gonads. Gonads are reproductive organs, and they cause abscesses there also, leading to severe pathological conditions, leading to secondary amoebiasis, which is a danger to the life. It is lethal, means the person may die also because of extraintestinal amoebiasis. So here these are the pathogenicity, means the the disease causing effects of the particular organism. What is it? Entamoeba histolytica. Now, what are the prophylaxis? Prophylaxis means the preventive measures. Suppose a person is suffering with a disease, then he will go for treatment. Treatment is after getting the disease. They will take medicine, and that is the treatment. But prophylaxis means prevention. We are taking some steps so that we do not get that disease. So those measures are called as prophylaxis. So here, what are the, this microorganism, the Entamoeba histolytica, it is transmitted through contaminated water and food. So what we have to do, we have to use a boiled and filtered water, which is free from the metacystic, this tetranucleate cyst of the Entamoeba. So when we boil the water, those cysts get dissolved and we have to filter the water. Then washing hands after defecation. Defecation means when you are coming out from the washrooms, toilets, to wash your hands thoroughly. Then vegetables and fruits should be properly washed before cooking and eating. This disease is usually, it affects children. Why? Because they do not wash their hands properly and they play in the soil, and they will keep their fingers in their mouth and they will pick up anything, and without washing they will eat. So here, these are the, we have to wash our hands and vegetables and fruits properly before consuming. Now, using septic tanks or toilets. Here, using septic tanks for toilets. Now here, you can see this in picture. The septic tank is there. this is the drain, the wastewater from the toilets will, will be gathered in this septic tanks rather than in the open space. And do not defecate in open. Defecate means passing the excreta is called as defecation. So do not defecate in open. Usually what happens in the villages or in the rural places, people, they defecate in the open fields. And in the fields, they'll grow the vegetables and fruits also, so that these tetranucleate cyst, it will contaminate the vegetables. When these vegetables are consumed without washing properly, then this disease spreads. So what are the prophylaxis? Washing hands, washing vegetables and the fruits and vegetables, boiling water and filtering the water, and using septic tanks, and do not defecate in open. So these are the prophylactic measures. Now here I have kept, the important questions for the IP. These are the very short answers. Now, very short questions which are very important for your exam. Start preparing. Take the screenshot of these slides, and then zoom it, and then take down the notes and prepare for your exam. What is first one? Distinguish between pre-cystic stage and cystic stage of Entamoeba histolytica. So we have discussed pre-cystic stage and cystic stage. Their difference you have to write here. Then what is the reserve food in the pre-cystic stage of Entamoeba histolytica? That is the chromatid bars and glycogen granules. What is metacystic form with reference to Entamoeba histolytica? Then a person is suffering with bowel irregularity, abdominal pain, and blood and mucus in the stool. Based on these symptoms, name the disease and its causative organism. Now, next is the on the advice of doctor, a patient has gone to a clinical laboratory, and in the laboratory, what is found that he's suffering with amoebiasis. So write down his the characteristic features of that particular organism. Then define asymptomatic cispassers with reference to Entamoeba histolytica, who are asymptomatic cispassers. Then distinguish between primary amoebiasis and secondary amoebiasis. Now these are short answers. Now describe the structure of trophozoite. If only the structure is there, then you have to draw the structure and describe it. So trophozoite stage, and then if it is coming for LAQ, that is long answer, then you have to describe the structure of this trophozoite and pre-cystic stage, cystic stage, and then you have to write the life cycle also. And you have to draw this diagram, life cycle diagram of Entamoeba histolytica. So here you see in the IP, zoology, it will carry 60 marks. Very short answers, there are 10. You have to, write, each one carry 2 marks. So total 20 marks. SAQ, that is short answer questions, each carries 4 marks. You have to attempt 6. So 6 into 4, that is 24 marks. And LAQ, that is long answer questions. So each carries 8 marks. So you have to write 2 questions. So you have to attempt 2 questions. So here 2 into 8, 16 marks. So altogether 60 marks paper. Now if from this unit, from 6th unit, at least compulsorily 2 questions, 2 very short questions will be there. That is 4 marks each. 4 marks, it will carry 4 marks. 2 into 2, 4. And short answer questions, 1 definitely comes from this unit. So 4 marks, and long answer question, that is LAQ, 1 is compulsory there. So here altogether 16 marks from this unit alone. Out of 60, 16 marks from this unit. Now it's time for review. We'll have a quick review of what we have studied in this today's class. Now here we have studied about what is health. Now definition of health, the factors affecting health, genetic disorders, infections, lifestyle. Then we have discussed about disease, what is disease, and then the types of diseases. This is important, very short answer. Wherever this red color, this star shape, along with here I have written VSAQ, means very short answer questions. These are important. Go through these slides, prepare for your exam. Infectious diseases, non-infectious diseases. These are the two types of diseases. Then comes the Entamoeba histolytica, this parasite which causes amoebic dysentery. Now here the stages, 3 stages of Entamoeba histolytica: trophozoite stage, precystic stage, and cystic stage. Then where this parasite is present in the large intestine of man, that is the mucosa and submucosa of large intestine. And what is mucous membrane? Here you can see this. Then the trophozoite stage, you have to draw this neatly. You have to practice drawing it and then labeling it also, and then write about this trophozoite stage. And then this is an important question for what is the presence of RBC in the food vacuole and cartwheel-shaped nucleus is the characteristic features of trophozoite stage of Entamoeba histolytica. Then here, the precystic stage and cystic stage difference is important for your 2 marks. Here both I have kept here VSAQ. Now you have to describe the precystic stage and cystic stage, where these 2 stages live in the lumen of large intestine. Now here, precystic stage and cystic stage. Now, what is encystation? And the life cycle, this diagram is there in your textbook. Draw this, practice it well, and label it also. And this is for your understanding, I have kept this diagram. Now here, life cycle of Entamoeba. These 2 slides, you have to prepare, take the screenshot, start preparing it. And what is the process? That existation, what is existation is also very short answer. Important one. Then pathogenicity, this Entamoeba histolytica causes primary amoebiasis and secondary amoebiasis. What are the, symptoms, and who are carrier asymptomatic cispases? All this you have to prepare well. And prophylactic measures, the measures to prevent from this disease. So hope this lesson is helpful for your exam preparation. All of you practice well all these question answers for your exam. And thank you all for watching this session. Thank you, madam.
Thank you very much, madam, for the elaborate and comprehensive discussion of amoebic dysentery. I am sure students have learned a lot about this disease and the protozoan which is causing this disease and its life cycle, preventive measures, and everything. We will continue with the next topic in this chapter from tomorrow, next session. And it is relevant to note that currently there is an outbreak of Shigella disease in Kerala. Though it is a bacterial disease, it also has the same symptoms like dysentery, and it's exactly like what we have studied today. And it is preventable by washing your hands continuously, regularly, and it is always prevention is better than cure. And we always need to remember that one. And I request all the students to read the textbook thoroughly and watch the video many times. Thank you, UZMA madam, for this presentation, and thanks to all the students for participating in this webinar. And I would like to express my gratitude to our additional director sir and joint director sir for providing the platform to overcome the adversity in teaching and learning. And students can subscribe to the Model School Telangana Junior YouTube channel to stay updated. Thank you, madam. Thank you very much.
Thank you, madam.